guys, welcome back to my channel. So this video is going to be all about revision timetables and basically just how I'm planning my revision up until exams, which are coming around way too fast. But anyway, I was going to do one of these videos at A-level and I just never did, and recently I've seen a bunch of people upload this type of video and I was just like, I'm just going to do one about how I do it. So yes, here it is. I hope that you find this video in some way useful, and without further ado, let's get straight on to it. Over this Easter holiday, I have tried out multiple methods of planning out my revision, and I have finally arrived at the method that I like the most and works the best for me. This is actually different to how I did it at A-level, but it's working better for me now at university, and I think that it'll still work for quite a few people at A-level or GCSE stage, because it just depends on what kind of person you are, and clearly my timetabling habits have changed and evolved. Basically, the general gist of how I timetable is I make a weekly plan, and I'll probably put a screenshot on the screen somewhere. It's on my laptop, which I've got here, and basically it is just a list of all the weeks that I've got leading up to exams. So like week 1st of April, week 8th of April, week 15th of April, and so on, just all the way down in a column. And next to each week, I've just got a list of things that I want to finish by that week. So for example, I write in this week, I want to finish going through these lecture notes, I want to finish this lecture series, I want to do this, I want to revise this. Like, it's just a list of things that I want to get done that week. And the great thing about this is it gives you so much flexibility, and I think especially when you're doing bulk planning, that is what you need, because exams aren't for like at least a month for most people, if not more, and you don't know what is going to come up like a month in advance. You don't know what plans you're going to make a month in advance, and it's so important to factor in other stuff, not just revision, into your timetable. Like, you need to socialize, you need to see people, otherwise you are going to go crazy. So I really think it's important to build up your revision timetable around a base of social activities and or other events that you have on in that week that you can't cancel. Obviously, socialize in moderation. Like, yes, you have exams, but make sure that you put that time in first, and like rest time, and then build up around that. And you can't really do that a month in advance. Plans pop up all the time and people ask you, do you want to go here? Do you want to go here? And you don't want to be like, no, I can't because I have a revision timetable and this day I need to get this finished, and like I can't physically leave, otherwise I won't finish, so goodbye. And like, you don't really want to do that. You don't want to isolate yourself. And especially now at university, it's so handy because we still have lectures when I get back, and we still have supervisions, and especially the supervisions, oh my gosh, you never know when you're gonna actually have them, like until the week before, or even the weekend before that week. Like, we just get told about supos really late, and so you literally can't factor them in to a timetable because you just don't know when they're gonna be. And obviously having events pop up on a day restricts how much revision you can do that day. So I'd rather have like a weekly plan. This way I know that by week 13th of May, I will have gotten through everything at least once, and then I can continue like revising everything else again and cramming and whatnot. But I know that I'll cover everything. So it's not like I'm kind of just working through it, not knowing what's going on. Like, I know that everything will get done according to this timetable, but it's just not like fixed when it'll all get done. It's fixed by week, but not by day. And this kind of planning is also really great because if you overrun in a week and you don't get something finished, like if it was a super busy week and you just didn't realize that like you factored in too much revision for that week, you can easily move it over, and it's not like having to move over a whole timetable for that week. Like, you just add it onto the list and hopefully you can manage to then get everything done, and at least you can then see like, oh, I have more to do this week, I need to schedule more revision time. Whereas if I had like a blocked out timetable, I would get really quite stressed if I then had to add in more stuff from the previous week. Which obviously it's natural not to get everything done on your to-do list. Like, things happen and things take you sometimes longer than you anticipated them to take you, and it's totally fine. But it's just then a case of moving them over to the next week, and I think it's much more stressful if you have to like rejig a timetable rather than making a timetable fresh at the start of that week, knowing everything that you have to get done and just building it up from there. That is the basic framework of how I planned out all my revision. And obviously, because I love planning, to-do lists, timetabling, and really everything to do with planning, honestly, I waste so much time on it, but it's just so fun to me, and it just gives me so much peace of mind. I really like to put this weekly list into a timetable closer to the time. So for example, the Sunday before the week starts, I'll look at my weekly list, look at anything that may have been moved over, and I will look at my timetable for that week, what I've got, and I'll build up a timetable for the week. So like, then I'll block out and say, on Monday I'm doing MIMS this, on Tuesday I'm doing MIMS that, and like I know then what I'm doing every day, but it just, you know, flexibility. So the two ways that I like to plan and like make revision timetable plan things is my planner and Google Calendar, and I'll speak about each of these separately. Firstly, my planner. So this is my planner. It is a Clever Fox planner. They kindly sent me it a while back. I unboxed it in a university vlog in like Michaelmas term, I think. But recently I've been using it quite a bit, so I thought that I'd show you how I plan out my revision in this. Most of the pages in this planner look like this. It's just a double spread per week. This is just a page that I filled out in advance. But basically on the one side it has all of the days of the week, and first of all I put in all of my like things that I have to do, like events and stuff, or like to do things like go to the doctors, yay. And then the Sunday before that week starts, I'll usually just sit there and fill out the revision that I want to do in here, and it does all fit in here, surprisingly, especially at university, because the topics are such like massive chunky topics. Realistically, in a day I can only get through like 3 or 4 lectures, which is another reason why I don't timetable, because literally the only thing that a timetable would say is like MIMS lectures 1 to 4, and it will just have that every single study block that I have, because I am a person who chooses to focus on like one specific thing. Like, if I'm gonna revise Macbeth, I'm gonna revise Macbeth, and I'd rather just do one thing all day and then move on to something else the next day, rather than like dart my attention between like maths, English, science. Like, that's just not really me. I did it towards the end of A-levels because I was literally getting bored out of my skin, but generally if I'm like revising, making notes, that kind of stuff, I just do it all in one block. Obviously not everyone is like that, but that's just how I do it. So usually on a day it will literally only say like one thing, so MIMS lectures 1 to 4 of X topic, and then on the other page they have some fun things which are actually surprisingly useful. So firstly, there's this week's main goal, which I use to write passive-aggressive messages to myself about how I need to revise. Then I have the priorities bit, which I usually just use to write things that I need to get done that week that aren't revision related or like events as such. For example, like pay the college bill or something, like that will go in here. A notes section, which I recently used to write myself an extensive letter about how I just need to get a grip so that I can read it through every time I look in here, so that's really fun. Then there's a to-do list which I use for YouTube videos, a habit tracker which is really cute. It usually only has like exercise, wake early and eat healthy, and usually not a lot of those circles are ticked, but you know, we're trying. And at the bottom it has like a self-reflection bit, which I think is really, really handy, because self-reflection as I'm learning is very, very important actually. So it has like this week's wins and also how I'll improve next week, and I think it's really cute. I don't use these bottom bits as much, but I should probably start realistically. And also it comes with stickers, which is so fun because I've just started sticking them everywhere all over the planner for no apparent reason. So that is how I use this. And the other thing was Google Calendar, and this, I love it. I love it so much. Google Calendar is my life. Like, it has my whole life on there. So if it crashes one day, then oops. But basically, I have inputted everything onto this. All of my lectures, all my supervisions, any events that I have like 5 separate calendars within my calendar, which I think is really cool how they have the option of having like separate calendars and then you can untick or tick them depending on whether you want to see them on the whole calendar. So you can see like how much of your time you're spending on revision, how much of your time you're spending on your breaks and whatnot. So my 5 calendars are like university contact hours, events, rowing of course gets its own calendar. Recently I put my YouTube video schedule on there as well, so that I just know when all the YouTube videos are supposed to go up. And I also have a revision calendar, and they're all like different colours. This is literally just a lifesaver. So for example, this is a week that is yet to come, and it just has, so my subjects are colour coded. These are just like all my lectures and stuff, and I can see very visually what I have when and what time is actually free for me to revise, socialise, whatnot. And it's just so nice to have like a visual calendar like this. So even though I don't timetable as such, it's just really nice to have a timetable. So for example, if I'm making like my weekly to-do list into a daily plan of like what I want to get done each day that week, I can just look at this and be like, Monday seems quite free, so I can get a lot more work done on Monday. However, Tuesday obviously has more stuff. Friday, all day I'm in a practical nearly, so like obviously I can't get as much revision done then, and it's just so much easier to then know which days you can actually get a massive bulk of revision done and which days you're gonna have to do something that's a bit shorter, or that you can like do a bit of and then leave to go somewhere and then do a bit of again and then leave. And stuff that needs like more concentration you can do on a day where you can literally just get there, sit down and just work and not get distracted by like having to go to lectures or like classes or whatever. So that's what I mainly use this for like revision timetabling or planning. But I also at one point used this to actually plan my revision, and I put my revision in there because it literally meant that everything was in one place and I could access this on like my phone, my iPad, my laptop, so it was always there if I needed it. This is what it looks like, and it looks quite scary, but as you can see, like rowing is this colour up here, the different colours here are my different subjects, and then all this like pale grey or brown or beige, I don't know, is my revision stuff. Basically, I just timetabled revision whenever I felt that there was time to do the revision. It wasn't so much revision, it was like to do stuff, so like go over this lecture or do this. But yeah, that's basically what I did, and I left like little bits of time to like get from lecture to my room, get from room to lecture. Here's just another example of when I actually planned actual revision for actual exams that I sat actually at the end of last term, but I just planned out like 3 days on here. So as you can see, like literally just wrote it all out in a timetable format, and I think it's so much faster to do it digitally. You can probably find a way to print this off in some way if you want to have a paper copy as well, but it's brilliant. I love it. As for what I'm actually like revising, I put everything that I need to get done, like everything that needs to get done, in a massive list. I will maybe put a screenshot somewhere here of the list that I made, and it is basically everything from every subject that I have that needs to get done by exams. So all the lectures, all the practicals, and I'll like put a lecture series and then in the bracket the number of lectures in that lecture series, and that way I can see at a glance what I actually need to get done, like what lecture series there are, how many lecture series there are per subject, which I can then use to make my weekly plans. And that's just how I like to do it, and it's really probably quite useful even for A-levels and GCSEs. It's basically like a spec, but because they just don't do them, I made my own. I'm just gonna really quickly finish off with how I'm actually planning my revision, like what I'm actually planning to do. So it's literally the end of my Easter holidays pretty much. I have a week left, but I'm at rowing camp, so there's obviously like a limited amount that I can actually get done there. Still gonna hopefully do as much revision as possible, but just less because we're rowing. And then I think there's like 5 weeks before exams start, or 6, when I come back in the new term. And obviously we still have extra content that we are still being taught because someone thought that was a great idea. So it is going to get quite hectic, but basically I'm aiming to get all the content finished by like 2 to 3 weeks before exams and have gone over it once at least. And obviously this isn't an ideal situation, but we all know what happened these past 2 terms, so I've just got to make do with the time that I have. And basically what I'm doing up to then is like highlighting notes, annotating them, reading through them, trying to remember as much as I physically possibly can of them. I'm mostly just revising like the lecture content because stuff in supervisions is usually just trying to explain the lecture content, so I'm kind of looking at that if I don't understand it, and like I'm looking through the notes just to see if there's any extra, but usually it is just explaining the lectures, so I don't need to learn it separately, thank gosh. The practicals is a whole nother ball game that I haven't yet figured out how I'm gonna do, but that's okay, we're gonna cross that bridge when we get to it. With regards to practice questions, they're mostly MCQs, and then there's obviously the essay paper. So the essay plans I'm probably gonna do in the last 2 to 3 weeks, like after I've gone through all the content. I'm gonna probably just make a few essay plans, churn them out and try and learn them. But up to then, I know that in my biochem supervisions, we're literally just doing an MCQ paper for the supervision, and then we're gonna go through it in the supervision because they don't have answers to them. So obviously like we have to go through them with someone else. So that's like, that's sorted out my way, and any that we don't do, I'm just gonna do by myself. And then for home, he literally has been giving us like sheets and sheets and sheets over the past 2 terms with like loads of MCQs. So when I've gone through a topic, I'm just gonna do the MCQs, spend like 2 to 3 hours doing them, and hopefully that is enough for that. You know, I'm not aiming for like amazing grades. I know that my mark is just not gonna be very good, but I literally just want to pass. Like, all I want to do is pass and get through this year, and next year can be like a clean new leaf. But right now I just need to get through these exams, so I've planned my revision according to that. Like, I just want to do enough to get through these exams and just pass them, and that's just all I can hope for, because it just hasn't been the first year that I wanted it to be. And yeah, so that is the entirety of this video. So I hope that you found it helpful. If you did, then be sure to give it a thumbs up, and you can also subscribe to my channel for more exam study related content, university vlogs, you know it. So button is below this video, and you can follow my social media also. The handles are always in the description, as well as now my Spotify. My Spotify is also in there, so go give that a follow. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!